I live a life of passion myself personally, and that's what I chase. You know, I do things because I generally love it and I generally enjoy it. If you put making money at the absolute epicenter of what you do, eventually you're going to burn out, and there has to be something bigger than that. And if you run around and start changing everything about your business to suit what you think other people are going to be, you're going to surround yourself with something that doesn't even align to you. If you just try and focus on yourself, you knowing yourself, your best expression of yourself, you'll find your audience.
Welcome to TerraQuip Talk, the podcast where we share ideas, stories, case studies, and conversations with professionals from across the drilling and piling industry. Hosted by Mike Dobrota, Managing Director of TerraQuip Drilling Equipment. Each episode brings practical insights, real-world experience, and lessons learned from projects in the field. Thanks for listening, and we hope you enjoy the conversation.
Good day, everyone. I finally have some other people here. It's hard to get them around. You know, it's not an easy task, you know, to bring people here in front of the camera, but we've done it now. It's one of our, not because they don't want to, not because they're not social. Let's get this straight. It's because they're so freaking busy in what they do. And I'm super busy as well, but I love this stuff, right? So anyway, without going too much into it, we've got here Lloyd Kay from Sydney Piling. He's a partner in Sydney Piling. They started a few years ago. We collaborated on a few projects, and they didn't buy any piling rig from us, which is perfectly fine, or any machine, but we do collaborate. We do help each other because, you know what, as I was saying earlier with him before we started rolling, it's not about doing something now, like in a month or 2 or 6. It can be something, you know, it's a long-term game, right? It's not a quick thing. So opportunity can come like 6 months later, or 2 years later, or 6 years later. But anyway, welcome, Lloyd.
Thank you, mate.
Thank you for coming over.
You're welcome. Yeah, I wouldn't imagine it'd be too hard to get people on, you know. But like I said to you when we chatted the other day, I really admire the hustle. You know, you seem like you've been really consistent at it. I can see you. It's like a great little setup, you know, and I love that. I think it's really great. We were speaking off camera about how it's important to invest in these things, you know, and I know how much effort it would take to get this going. And you got to go for a long period of time without getting the reward that you want.
Absolutely.
You know, and it's a slow burner, and I'm all about the slow burners. So I'm a huge podcast listener, and I have to have an earphone in all the time. Like at home.
Same.
I've got 4 packs of really cheap earbuds that I buy on Amazon, and
you go through them.
I go through them so quickly, and they've all got one earbud because I've lost the other one. I can't find it. And I bought it.
We only need one anyway.
You only need one, right? Because I'm usually doing something or speaking to someone. But I don't know, I have to have something anchor in my brain. It's taken a long while to understand my brain and how I can focus, and going from on-site to now in the office mainly and doing stuff. It's a big transition into like paperwork all the time. And I've had to like work on these little hooks and things that can keep me going and stuff like that.
So production going.
Yeah. So, but like, mate, I really admire it, you know. I don't want to glaze you up too much, but I appreciate it.
Thank you. I appreciate the words. It's funny how I got to invite Lloyd, because I was in this studio a few weeks ago doing an episode, and one of the guys that works here, one of the producers, goes like, "Oh, there's someone in piling that comes here." And I was like, "Oh yeah, who is it?" Because I know pretty much everyone. I've been in the bloody industry for the 15 years. He goes like, "Oh, I think it's Sydney Piling." And I was like, "What? They're my client. What are they?" And I was like, "Oh, he's just in the other studio." I was like, can I talk to him? He's like, yeah, no worries. So then I called you and I was like, "Oh, how about you come on the podcast, you know, and then we talk about it, you know." You can't really see the reward straight away, right? And sometimes it's not actual tangible reward. There's some intrinsic value in this. And I guess that's what a lot of people don't see. And majority, 99% of the podcasters, they go through it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 episodes, max 10, and then they give up. The biggest thing is consistency.
Everything.
And it's the same in business, isn't
Absolutely.
it?
Absolutely. It's everything.
You can get 1 client, you can get 2, you can get 5. But then if you don't keep a consistent service, you can't go on, you know?
Yeah, I think you're bang on. I think something that I've learned a lot in my life, and I've applied to business as well, is it depends what your main goal is. Like, I learned quickly in business, if you try to, once you start having a business and you have overheads and stuff, and making money becomes so important, right? It's obviously is vital. But if you put making money at the absolute epicenter of what you do, eventually either emotionally, spiritually,
you run dry quickly.
You're going to get cut short and you're going to burn out. And there has to be something bigger than that. And one thing I think that I pay attention to a lot, because I'm a consumer myself, right? I'm consume material, I buy stuff. I've noticed that about myself is in this world where we've got so much social and so much content, authenticity speaks out a lot. And authenticity comes a lot from passion as well. And I can tell that you're really passionate about this. You actually generally do really like it.
I do.
You know, and I think if you've just got that, you'll find your audience, you know, people will come, you know, and it's like, I remember back when we were first starting and we were making logos and stuff, and you make logos and you run around and you're asking everyone.
You're making logos
for our business, right?
Was this one of your previous?
No, this is the mate. So we, the business has been going, my business has been going for about 12, 13 years. And we originally called a company called LC Civil.
Okay.
And we were just doing, mainly just doing hand piling and bits and pieces. And Des came on board, my current business partner, a few years in. And then once my original business partner left, me and Des were together full time, we decided to rebrand and change. And in that process, we were deciding names and logos and other bits and pieces. And you're running around asking all these people, what do you think? What do you think? What do you like? And at one point, it's just like, well, what do we like?
Exactly.
What do we like? And let's just focus on that. Because if you run around and start changing everything about your business to suit what you think other people are going to be, you're going to surround yourself with something that doesn't even align to you. I think 100%. That this and what you're doing and all these sort of things, if you just try and focus on yourself, you knowing yourself, your best expression of yourself, you'll find your audience.
Now you make me doubt myself, you know, because TerraQuip, it was my ex that chose it. You know, I didn't even think if I like it. She should.
Yeah, but okay, but that's not important, you know.
I'm kidding. I liked it as well.
Do you know what I mean? It's like, it's obviously not important. She's obviously got a good taste, you know. But like, I live a life of passion myself personally, and that's what I chase. You know, I do things because I generally love it and I generally enjoy it.
You have to, man. You can't just wake up like, I mean, I've been in that position, you know, where I was waking up on Monday morning or just thinking on Sunday night, I was like, I gotta go to work tomorrow. Jesus Christ, kill me, you know? Whereas now he's like, oh my God, a weekend is coming. It's depressing. Like,
for sure.
I genuinely enjoy it. You know, people ask me like, oh, you know, how was your weekend? Like, oh, was it hard? You know, like just relaxing. I was like, I got 3 kids. Actually, it was hard.
How old are your kids?
They're 2, 6, and almost 7 and 11.
Boys or girls?
All girls.
All girls.
Yeah.
Like, I got one girl.
God bless.
They say naughty boys have girls. That's what they say.
Yeah, well, we'll talk about that in a different episode. But
yeah, that's the X-rated one, is it? Yeah, off limits.
But yeah, like enjoying what you do, it's so important, you know, because it's such a huge part. Like it consumes so much of our waking hours, right? Wake hours. So it's going back to you a little bit, you know, about, because you know, I'm trying to focus, you know, about piling and drilling, you know, I'm trying to get a feedback from you guys, you know, the people that are on the other side of the field. So we're on this side of the fence, we're supplying the equipment, we're fixing them, we make sure that they work for you guys, but you're the one that keeps it going on the other side of the fence. First of all, I could not see myself ever doing contracting. I think it's so stressful.
It's a special type of pain.
It is so like, I'd rather deal with the machinery, you know.
I get it.
I'd rather deal with that side of the story, which of course, you know, the stress is on us as well to make it work. But yeah, tell me a little bit about that. How did you guys come across piling? How did you?
I wish I could say that I came from a long lineage of expertise in piling and stuff like that, but it really wasn't the case. I grew up in England. I'm English, and I worked for my father, who owns a groundworks company, and we did a lot of footings and foundational work in and around there. And then at some point, I decided to come over to Australia. A lot of my options had run dry there. I wasn't in the best crowd, and my life wasn't going in a direction that I was really happy with. So on a couple of weeks' notice, I moved to Australia. I lived with my uncle and worked for him for a period of time. And after that kind of wasn't working, about 6 months, I replied to an ad on Gumtree, and it was a guy doing hand piling, which is a very unique type of piling. It's
We're going to talk about this. I have to bring the hand piling into discussion because it's so bloody interesting.
I doubt, anyone listening to this podcast, most people would never hear of it before.
Nope.
No, and most people that I ever speak to.
And most people overseas, they wouldn't know about it.
No one,
It's got to
really,
be sandy.
It's got to be really specific, and you've got to be smart enough to be able to figure it out, but stupid enough to stay at it for long enough that you can just experience everything to like figure it out. It's like a weird combination. I think I sit just in that little precipice.
That Goldilocks.
Not quite smart enough to have done something better, but just smart enough to figure it out. And that's the way I look at myself. So, but yeah, I replied to an ad on Gumtree, and it was a guy that taught pretty much everyone in Sydney. I think he was like 70 years old. He had not much of a company left. It was pretty much my first day and this other guy's first day. And I turn up at the job site, which he gave me the wrong address for. And there's another guy there. He teaches us for about 20 minutes. You can barely understand him. Big hunchback and, hey, Lloyd, how are you? Like, you just could barely, understand. A South African guy. Showed me a little bit about how to dig a hole, and then he left.
No, please do the South African accent again. I'm kidding.
Yeah, might have to edit that little bit out.
Yeah.
A man of many talents, accent, not one of them. And then, he showed me a little bit about what to do, and then he disappeared. And we started digging the holes and finished them. And the next thing you know, concrete turned up, a pump turned up, and I tried calling him, we didn't answer. And then I just ended up having to, after about 45 minutes, I looked around what the other piles had done, lifted the cages up with him, and these are like big 6-meter cages, 6 N16s, spirals. These are big, heavy cages. And
wow.
Dug it in the ground, and then got behind and pushed and pulled and lifted them in, put them in, and started pouring the concrete. And then he came back pretty much at the end of the day. And I think at that point he was like, you could dig stuff out a little bit. And up to that point, Mike, I don't think there was anything in my life that I really thought, I'm good at this. Because I had always just done bits and pieces, and my confidence was quite low, I would say, at the point. I didn't have like an overwhelming evidence behind me to give me confidence.
Right.
Things that I had accomplished in my life, it wasn't like that. But a lot of the little bits I had learned in all these different careers I'd done just kind of fell into place. I could operate lasers, I knew bits about concrete, and I could graft. I could dig these holes manually by hand myself really quick. And it progressed, and I realized that this was somebody that I could learn a lot of, and there was a little niche here. I was only 23 at the time, and I stuck with him for about a year and a bit, and I went on holiday to England. I came back after about 3 weeks, and there was no work. And then I tried to contact him, couldn't get hold of him. Some clients that I'd worked with before with him were calling me up, tried to call him, couldn't. I dipped all my savings into going and manufacturing these tools, which are completely custom. Like, you can't buy them in Bunnings or anything like that. And after some advice from some friends that I was hanging out with at the time, I was only 23, but I surrounded myself with people in their 40s and stuff who owned businesses, and always trying to better myself and trying to learn what I could. And they convinced me to go on my own. And
They convinced you to go on your own?
They convinced me to go out and start a business. And looking back now, I can't believe how little I knew. Like, I was going on YouTube to try to read plans, like how I could even understand a structural drawing. I had a little moped, and that's how I got to site. And I had all my shovels and levels and bits and pieces in a backpack. And I used to have to park around the corner of the job site and then walk in so no one would see my moped, because I'm already really young, right? And I looked I know I look really young right now, but I looked way younger back then. And I'm doing these basements for people, and they're like, is this guy able to do this? And it was a little bit of a worry. So maybe I overthought that much more than that was actually in reality. But that was what it was like.
No, that's always the case, right?
It's always the case, right? And I mean, I was going into industry.
People don't think so much about us as we think about us.
The spotlight effect.
The spotlight effect. Yeah,
and you're just a young kid. You don't really know and stuff like that, But Des, my current business partner, he was working in recruitment, and he would give me little leads and stuff like that. And I would drive around job sites and be like, hey, I can do your piloting. Give me a chance. And there was about 4 other competitors at the time. And I think they're all in their late 40s or 50s doing hand piloting. This is not any other type of machine piloting in the eastern suburbs. And I fed off their scraps for a long period of time. The jobs they didn't want, pure backfill. We have got a pole that comes up vertically, and it's got a T-bar at the top, and at the bottom of the pole is a bucket with teeth on. You turn the T-bar around, and the bucket fills up with sand. You lift it up, shake it, and now you've got a small borehole. And you complete that process until you go down as deep as you can go. Then you get a shaping tool.
Sorry, this is just for sand.
This is just for sand, only in sandy areas, because it's
not
all
sandstone, because you can't.
You can't. This is
That's right.
So this work can only be done in the beach. Dover. We work in the eastern suburbs.
Yeah,
we work more now, but at the start it was Dover Heights, Coogee, Bellevue Hill, really sandy locations. You turn this T-bar, go down, and then you've got a shaping tool, and that would be the diameter of the pier, 300-400 mil, whatever it is. You use this to carve the hole, and that knocks all the sand from the outside into the borehole, the void that you made, lowers the entire hole, rinse and repeat.
How they build the pyramids? Listen.
Yeah, exactly, right? And that was the gig, right? And we used to just dig and dig and dig and dig these holes. And some of the jobs we get would be for the bricks or whatever. And when you've got a rig, brick doesn't matter, concrete slab doesn't matter, just bang, bust through. Like some of your machines, they were just like smack. What was that? A70 was it we were looking at?
A70, yeah.
A70, that would just, you wouldn't even, when you've got a brick and you've got a hand auger, you've got to like go down, oh, that's a brick or something, then you've got to drill a new hole next to it, then go round by the side of it, get another pole, try and knock it into the bucket. It takes like an hour. And then like the hole can collapse. The whole time you're doing this, if it's dry enough, the hole will collapse.
You would still go to the gym, right?
I would still go to the gym. At the time I was training MMA.
For real? I was just making a joke.
No, like this is like at the time I was training MMA and I was fighting in an MMA at the time, and I used to go to the gym 5 a.m. till 7 a.m. every single morning, go dig these holes, and then come back and train in the evening. But like I was madman at that point, like I've just too much energy.
It's crazy, man.
ADHD and stuff like that. So we fed off a lot of the scraps from people and stuff, but we did it with a smile on our face. And we knew what we wanted to do. We knew definitely what we wanted to achieve. And we knew
having that goal in mind.
The goal was, I've been asked this a couple of times. The goal was really to push our creativity as far as we could go. And as men look back and say, we've added some value. That was it. There was no like number or anything like that. It was just like, we're onto something here a little bit. Like, let's just see how far we can go. Let's just see what we can do. Let's take on as much stress as we can. Let's put ourselves in the biggest and craziest situations we can be and see where we end up. Because I think we saw a lot of people, working on big projects or nice houses and cars, and we don't have any of that or like any of that, but you want to have an opportunity to get that. That makes sense,
It makes a lot of sense. For me, it was, I guess a little bit similar, but kind of different. For me, it was just like, let's just do this so I don't have to, I guess, regret for the rest of my life and have a go at me for the rest of my life.
Absolutely.
For not trying.
Absolutely.
I'm just doing this so I can get out of my head.
Absolutely.
That I've done it. I've tried it. I failed. I was 100% that I'm going to fail. And I was like, let's just give it a go. And then I can just live free for the rest of my life from the thought that you've never tried to have a business. You've never tried to give it a go. You never had the balls for it.
Absolutely.
And what convinced me in the end was that I was kind of the same. I had clients, that were pushing me to start, and also IMT was pushing me to, they offered to help. But the biggest thing that actually tipped me over, I was like, I think I was watching the news or something, and it was just this unfortunate accident with his mom and child. They were walking on the sidewalk, and this car drives by, and he watches the phone or something, I don't know, and then crashes into the mom and kills the mom, right? And that was just like an aha moment for me. I was like, wow, we literally come butt naked in this world. We have nothing and we live with nothing. The only thing that matters is what we do in between. That's the only thing that matters. And if you are to start something and then you lose everything, let's just say you have, +3, and then you lose everything and you're at 0 again. Guess what? You were born with nothing. You're going to go on with nothing.
Doesn't mean anything, does it?
What does it matter?
Yeah.
There's nothing really to be, there's nothing. I had nothing to lose in the end. So I was like, that's it. I'm going to do it.
I love that, mate. I one thing that I don't know whether I heard it or I come up with it, but something me and my partner, Des, we always say when we've had so many points of adversity come through the ranks and mistakes we've made as we've grown so quickly, alarming rates, and yings when we should have yanged or whatever. But some things when we're thinking, is this all worth it? And it's like, when people say, aren't you scared of the risk? And it's like, well, if we're going down, we're going down swinging, you know.
Exactly.
Mouth guard's going in, and if I'm going out, I'm emptying the tank.
Do you think you've had this mentality because you said you've been a MMA fighter? Are you still doing it?
No, I gave that up a while back because you can't do it all. You know, when you're training MMA, you are going there and learning what's the perfect angle to twist your fist to hit the other man in the side of the head at the perfect point to knock him out. And that takes such a intensity, and I can't run a business to this scale at the same time.
Yeah,
I didn't want it enough. That's the truth. I could have if I wanted to, but I didn't want it enough. And it got too much. My body was breaking down a little bit and stuff like that. And the business was growing. My mentality, I think, comes from which I'm very grateful for, which sounds a bit weird, but from my upbringing was quite tough. I had a lot of bad experiences in my upbringing. I got into a lot of trouble. Family life wasn't great for me. And I knew that I wanted to have a better life for my kids because my childhood didn't quite work out the way I wanted and stuff. And I went through enough stuff that made me realize that, well, if I can go through that, I can go through anything without sounding too cheesy. And I think over time, through wanting to be better and consuming more books and listening to other people, and I've gone on many courses, and you know, I'm a work in progress. Everything for me personally is a huge work in progress, and I work on daily. You know, it's been an obsession to try to be better. So my mindset over the last few years, as I've started to get more staff on and go, I have realized that that's probably my best asset in anything, you know. And I've been asked a few times about it personally, and it's hard. Yeah, it's hard to define, but I think that. Have you ever heard of David Goggins?
Yes. Yeah.
Do you like him?
How can you not?
Cup of tea.
How can you not? Yeah.
Madman.
Look, I'm also of the mentality: listen to all and follow none. Like I'm not a follower, but you cannot not appreciate it. You can't not find it interesting, right? But yeah, no, he's a weapon.
I listened to his book Can't Hurt Me many years ago, and that was the first time that someone had articulated what I believed that my personal mindset had been, which was callousing your mind. And the things that you go through, it says, you know, whatever kills you doesn't make you stronger, that however you want to phrase it. But when you go through tough things, you do become tougher, generally.
Absolutely. And working on yourself, the way I frame it in my mind is, I can lose everything. I can lose all of this. I can lose even my image. I can lose my business. I can lose all the money. I can lose my family, touch wood. I can lose my health. But you know what? Something that I can never, unless I'm going crazy, I can't lose my knowledge. No. I can't lose what I know.
And you can't lose what
So that's the biggest investment in the end. Stocks can go up, can go down. Bitcoin, you can lose it all. Yeah. It's so freaking volatile, right?
Absolutely.
You know, like the women and this and that, like I'm on my second marriage, you know, like who knows what's going to happen, you know? You can lose it all.
Yeah.
But the knowledge, you can't lose that unless, again, you go crazy or you start having like mental diseases.
Yeah, I mean, owning a business, you can do that.
Yes.
Working in piling,
that's the right path towards that.
Yeah, working in piling.
Get the knowledge and then go crazy. And lose all your knowledge.
Absolutely. Dig enough holes or work with enough machines. Yeah.
Speaking of that, I mean, it is a stressful environment. That's why I was saying earlier, I can't see myself ever doing contracting. And I think that's a good thing because in Australia, I feel like there's, as opposed to the UK, where that borderline, that boundary can be a little bit, you know, I guess that you can cross it very easily. It's not very well determined. Whereas in Australia, you're either the supplying, either the contracting. There's no way in between.
Sure.
Because if you start going on a job site and you propose to another client and stuff like that, of your client, then you're done. That's it. You're completely out of the industry.
You are.
And we've seen what happened with some of the people that went bankrupt already, you know, in Sydney. They went behind their clients back, you know, and they offered a better gig, and of course, you know, they lost their image. Nobody got them on their sites anymore. But anyway, that's
mindset that is.
Hey guys, just a second. I just want to say this. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this episode, to listen to us every single week. It gives us immense pleasure to talk about our industry. We want to give a voice to our industry here. So if you enjoy this, if you find this interesting, please hit that like button, share with someone, subscribe. All of this helps us a lot. It means the world to me. Thank you so much. Now let's get on with the episode. What are some of the, because you said that's the perfect way to go crazy in piling. what are some of the challenges that you guys are dealing, let's say, from day to day?
Look, our particular industry, most of what we're working in right now is high-end residential. That's what we're working in. Piling is the career of problems, essentially. Like everybody can...
But we get to bury our problems.
Ideally, yeah. Like the geotech will come and do a scan on the ground and it'll give an idea, right? The structural engineer will determine the loads and the cantilevers, and the architect will work out where the spar is going to go in bits and pieces, right? But until you start drilling, nobody really knows. And the amount of times someone's thought something is this and it turns out to be that, and then you've got to pivot at the absolute drop of the hat, because when you've got huge machines on site, you've got supervisors, you've got pumps, all this sort of stuff, it's all costing money. And every day that you aren't drilling, there's a saying in piling, if it's not turning, it's not earning.
I see that at the end of the day.
Do you say that as yourself?
Yeah,
right?
that's my motto.
Like, it is, right? And it is true. And with all due respect, the geotechs, the structural engineers, they don't really care about that. You know, they're working through parameters like they should, right? They should do all that. But it's you as the piling operator who's going to suffer. So and everything we do in our company is control the controllables. Right? What we can't control, that is what it is. And we know those problems are coming. So let's make sure that we get our pre-starts and site inspections done at the highest level we possibly can. Let's identify any potential problem from any of the experiences that we've gone through beforehand. Let's make sure we have a format that when we do have a problem, we've got a question to answer for next time, and processes and bits and pieces and stuff like that. Let's make sure that all the equipment's there and all these bits and pieces, because one thing's for sure is at some point something's going to pop up, and making sure you know what you're going to do in that situation, how the guys are going to react, all those bits and pieces, because we're working in delays. And you asked me what one of the biggest issue is. I would say is that trying to make sure that when the job's supposed to start, it starts is one of the hardest things, because we're working with construction certificates needing to come through, last minute changes, demo company taking a bit longer. When you're working in Bellevue Hill or Dover Heights, it's very hilly, and the neighboring ground can be much higher than the existing ground. And your client might need their slab to finish at a certain RL and coming through, and that's perfectly architectural and it has to happen that way. But the neighboring footing is way higher, and no one's quantified that and allowed for that. So at the last second now, you're going to have to either do 30-40% more piling or come up with another solution. And you've got to come up with it now, because you've got that crew booked in through there, right? And as much as you can plan and prepare, if they don't have the keys to the place or it's not been demoed and you can't see this, there's not much you can do. And you've got to be reactive. And our whole business model is being prepared, but being so reactive, being able to pivot at the last possible scenario. Expand and contract. That's something that we say in our office all the time. We've got to be able to expand at any moment to handle John Smith, who calls me and like, Lloyd, I've just demoed this and the footing is way lower. I need piling tomorrow. No problem. I'll be there for you. Because if your client can't call you and you can't be there, what's going to happen?
You're going to lose him. Yeah.
You're going to lose him. You're going to go somewhere else, right? And you can have confidence that you're so good that when they go somewhere else, it's a win because they get a bad experience and they come back. But like, you don't know that, do you? Right? So what's your job? Your job is to handle your client's problems. And another job doesn't start. Okay, well then that whole crew's got to go somewhere else, and they've got to make money, and they've got to do stuff and stuff like that. So that is a really difficult process. But because we're such long-term thinkers, right? We're here for the next 20, 30 years. We're aiming to try to take over Australia. That's our ultimate goal. Our ultimate goal is to look back and people to say Sydney Piling is one of the best around. That's a long-term goal, to compete with some of the bigger boys, but we're going to give it a good crack. When that is your ethos and everything like that, so you do have down days, cool, let's train. Let's take some of the guys that were doing one role, let's put them on another job and let him shadow that guy in a completely different role, Do you like soccer? Football?
Not really.
What sport do you like?
Tennis.
Okay. What team sport do you like with like formations and positions? Anything?
I'm
not that guy.
The worst person to ask. I'm not that guy at all.
Okay.
No, to be honest, if I've always been of the opinion, if I have the time to watch someone playing, I should do it myself.
Why?
I don't know, because it's because I want, probably because the way I am, because I like to move. I like to do something. I can't just watch someone else do stuff and not be doing it.
Would you say that you understand like the position of like a left back or a right back?
Yeah, of
right?
course, 100%.
So something that we have in our company is we try in football, if you can play left back, you would also potentially try and be able to play right back. There's different sides, but similar positions. We have that ethos.
Or central back.
Or whatever, right? It's like, can you play a different position and back up through that? So if you have that kind of mentality, you're never going to be losing. It doesn't matter if a job's going down, you're going to be adding value somewhere else, because although you're not directly going to be making money right this second, you're going to be adding in another moat into your business, which is being able to, when Harry has a wedding and he has too much booze on a Saturday night and he's hungover as crap on a Sunday, and then he still doesn't come in on Monday, you know, and that whole crew's there. Well, Harry's the pump man, so who's coming in? Cool.
You can't do it all pumping,
right? So you just like those sort of things and stuff like that, I think is it's probably a long way going around it, but I would say being able to be as nimble as possible to react to situations that you can't control. That's one of the difficultest things we've got.
So if we were to summarize, I'd say, because I like to understand better about what you guys do and what challenges you guys are facing in order to see what I can do from my side to help you guys, right?
Sure.
So to summarize, number one, from what you're telling me is the reality not aligning with the actual scope, right? With the actual proposal.
Yeah.
Because again, they can't soul investigate every single square centimeter there.
They
right?
can't.
Second, there's so many variables that come into play that you need to be adaptable, right? On the go.
Yes.
Right. And that obviously that reflects into material resources, but human resources as well. And as we said, you know, about being able to move people from one position to another and constantly train them so they can wear different hats.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's really important as well for any sort of small company. I remember back in 2019, I've done do you remember there used to be those things on social media with where especially girls, they would put like different hats on and then their entire outfits would change.
Maybe, but
or they would jump like into a different pair of shoes and then they would have a totally different eye. And it was a trend back then. And I've done one with...
you can tell you got 3 girls.
I didn't know them from them.
Okay.
I'm not going to get into detail how do I know those reels. But anyway, I've done a reel like that and I posted, you know, for the business, and I said, you know, I was putting the hard hat on and I'd go into like high vis, and then I'd put on like a normal cap and I'd go into like, you know, an operations position, and then I'd put on a shirt and I'll, you know, become into a management position. And I was like, it's such a nice thing being able to transition and to wear different hats.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not necessarily that it's nice, it's necessary because you have to wear different hats.
You're absolutely bang on. There was a book that I read 2 years ago, which found me at the right time, which is called Great CEOs Are Lazy. And as our company's progressed and I've become much more of a CEO now, I've gone from digging all the holes to myself to managing 40, 50 people and doing 20 jobs at once is where we're at right now. You have to learn how to not only manage your time, but to make sure that you're working on the things that only you can do. And that is such a skill to be able to block out what is just the noise. You know Steve Jobs, obviously?
Yeah, of course, yeah.
I can't remember who was speaking about him, but I heard him a while back, and Steve Jobs was perfect at understanding what is noise and what is signal. And being able
the noise to signal ratio for him was just absolutely mental. Yeah,
mental, right?
I've read about that.
But
That's
the biggest
incredible.
and best business owners have this skill set of going and analyzing where is the biggest kink in the hose and how can I unkink that, and then the next one. And this book talks about the different hats that you wear in business, and there's 5 different hats. And I'd probably butcher it trying to regurgitate it, but the mindset was sometimes you have your engineering hat on and you are designing something new and structuring your processes and bits and pieces. And sometimes you have your architect on and you're designing brand new ideas and coming up with it and stuff like that. And sometimes you find yourself with not much to do. And that's when you put your player hat on. And I do that myself. And if I haven't got an understanding where the biggest kink is, I go to site and I work. And I work with this crew and I work with that crew. And what's it like for them? Because that's the biggest thing in the company, right? How's your crew? What have they got? How's life for them? What tools have they got?
As soon as you've got even as much as or as little as 5 people under you, the biggest thing in the morning becomes like, what do I focus on? Because the time is so limited, right? Energy is so limited, like resources are. So what do I pay attention to out of this? Even with clients, you can't service. I mean, our industry is quite restricted. It's quite small and niche and unique. So therefore, there's not a huge amount of clients. Choosing on which client to focus and how to keep everyone happy is super important.
And we spoke about this on the phone the other day, didn't we? Where we spoke about helping people when you're getting nothing back, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
And we spoke about how sometimes, though, that you mentioned that you've obviously got other clients calling you and stuff like that, and they can generate money in bits and pieces. But what you're doing right now and what you do is you're building, you're trying to build trust with people. You're probably trying to build trust with me. So we buy another machine.
Absolutely.
You're trying to build trust with other people, right? And
it's a consistent exercise.
It's a consistent exercise, right? And you can build trust by other people saying, Mike's a good guy. You can build trust by them looking at your website or looking at a review. But I've always gone, the biggest way that you can build trust is to give without receiving. Can I just give you something without having anything back? You know,
Absolutely.
Even if I don't get the job or whatever, can I give you some advice that you can go and take it? I'm not the guy for you, or this or that. You've done that with me and Des before.
I did, right? I told you guys, and I said, guys, even if you're not buying the A70, come and let me know what you want to buy. I'll give you my honest opinion. I know machinery.
And you earn more respect in that from me and Des than you ever would in anything else, because we're like, he's a good guy.
Yeah.
You know, he's a good guy. He's actually trying to do something just to help us, not based on the sale. And if you have that mindset, you'll be fine.
Yeah, you'll be rewarded.
You'll be fine.
Sooner or later, the reward is going to come back to you, whether it's that's through money, through image, or through status, whatever. It's going to come back to you.
It comes back to what we were talking about at the start, which is having that purpose, that money or whatever it is and stuff like that. But like, you're working as a service provider and a product seller. I'm working as a service provider. So what are we dealing with? People.
Yeah.
That's what we're dealing with, right?
Yeah. In any single industry. Yeah.
And you mentioned to me earlier that you could never be a subcontractor in this and pieces. Yeah. You could, because you're just dealing with people and you have to want to help. It has to be a non-negotiable with you. You have to want to help him. You have to want to help the gas person working at the gas station, working behind the till. You have to want to help him. You have to want to help everyone. For years, I've played this game with people, which is where it's a sound so corny when I listen to this back, but it's generally true. When I interact with people, I try and make them smile. Yeah. I play a game in my head. I'm like, can I make you smile? And they do it. Nice. Got you. Next. And it's like, it's selfish. It's selfish, right? Because I want to make sure that I can find that frequency with you. You know, I want to find that frequency with you, but it's also at the same time, it's like, it's good energy, right?
It is, mate.
It's good energy to go away and do that, you know? Would it be nice if we all just try to do that and just try and like, you help me, I help you, give without receiving. If you ask a lot of people, I think they would say I'm a very generous person, too generous, I would say, because I get such enjoyment out of giving my stuff away or what I've got given away. And you actually, unfortunately, in business, you can get caught out a little bit like that. It'd be a bit naive.
Absolutely. But it's also about creating that, I read a book once, a Japanese book, where they talk about the principles of giving and receiving. And in order to, it's like a circuit, you know, and it's like a vacuum. The more you give, the more space it creates to actually receive.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
It's such a beautiful concept, you know, and without knowing about it, I've had, you know, that in my life as well, you know.
It's weird. Like, have you ever been in a situation where you've got your own troubles going on in your life and then somebody else comes along and they've got a trouble and that you haven't had the energy to focus on yours, but they come along and you're like all the energy in the world?
Yeah.
It feels good.
Absolutely.
It's like therapeutic.
It energizes you.
It does, because that connection that you get with them.
In reality, it doesn't always work like that. Like in principle, you want it to, and it can work like that, but yeah, it depends on the situation.
Give me an example where you think it couldn't work like that.
One of my friends, he's it sounds crazy, but like his boys got into massive trouble, and they've been away for a while, and like he had nothing to give. Like he was just, you know, you couldn't talk about because he's lost, temporarily, like his boys,
He lost his boys.
Yeah, I guess depends on the gravity of the issue.
Nah,
I guess
of course it does.
that's what I mean. Is that it's not always, majority of the time it is possible.
Nah,
but yeah,
I know what you mean, right? And you can't. Yeah.
and he was saying it years later when everything got solved. He was saying, he said, I you know what, like, you were talking to me like 2 years ago, and I had nothing. I was such a terrible friend. And I was like, no, I get it. Like, it's, maybe it happens to me as well. When you want to help someone, but you just don't have all that energy.
Look, we're human at the end of the day, aren't we?
Yeah, it's
you can. Yeah,
but majority of the time, yeah, I agree with you. It's so refreshing, and it is so energizing to be able to help someone and better yourself in the process, right? Like,
Absolutely,
it's again, it's selfish.
It is selfish. It is selfish. It's like,
Because you want to make yourself feel good too.
yeah, right. And like, I remember I did this Tony Robbins course called Personal Power years ago. My mate recommended it to me, and it's like the idea behind it is that you write down a list of all your goals that you want to do and achieve in your life, and places you go and bits and pieces, and you choose a few of them, and then you go ahead and make plans for it, and then each day you take one little step towards it. And then in that, it talked about the giving, and it being, there's nothing else that you can do in life that will give you more satisfaction than going and helping other people and stuff. And
that's the first thing I read that they do with recently retired people. They go depressed.
Mm-hmm.
The main thing that they do in therapy is like, they sign them up for volunteer work.
Did they?
Yeah. And apparently that works like 70% of the cases. Is just, finding that meaning, finding that purpose. It just lifts them back up, and they never stop, after that, volunteering
sure.
and helping.
I really can't imagine that.
They do say that selfish people are depressed. Like, that's not to say that don't jump into my throat. I know there's some people that generally have, depression, anxiety, or those mental health issues, whatever. But in general, that's what they say, that generally just a depressed person is a person that just focuses too much on itself.
Absolutely. Yeah. It easily could be done. Tell me about you and your business. Where are you planning on taking it? Like, what's the end goal for you? Like, are you just planning on?
Look, they always say that, I heard you say earlier that you have this goal in mind of taking it over Australia, like this is your purpose. And I salute that, right? I think I don't necessarily resonate with that.
Completely understand it.
That doesn't mean that maybe one day I'm not going to want to, if I'm given the opportunity. I don't know. But a lot of the times I just focus on what's inside, and again, there's the Japanese, they talk about like 5 and 10 years business plans. They don't talk about 12 months business plan. They talk about, and I'm like, that's mental. How do you do that? I don't know what's around the corner. I don't know how I'm gonna feel tomorrow, right? All I know is, I want to do a good job. I want to maintain I want to stay consistent, which we did speak about because it's a big thing in business. But I take things one at a time, and if there's one thing that I want is, I always focus with TerraQuip to lay the foundations, the right foundations, and chase that organic growth, right? In simple terms, like I don't want to grow too fast, too quick. I wouldn't want that. I wouldn't want that for my well-being.
Been there and done it, and it's not good.
Yeah, it's some people can do it. They are super highly competitive and competent and capable.
Yep,
that's not me, and in fact, many times, we've been given amazing products. We've been given opportunities, to TerraQuip should represent us. Let's talk about it. And I was like, I'm sorry, I'm just not there. Like, from a resources, like human resources, energy, skill, financial resources, it wouldn't be fair to you guys for me to take on. Yeah, it would be nice, to say that, we've got another product, on our shelf. Like, let's sell it to you. But we're not a supermarket, right? So in what I do, I think it's super important that I take it one step at a time. We started with IMT. We established that, made that known, got experience. We learned about them. We improve them. Then we move on to Marini. What do we need to do about Marini? Okay, another 2 years with Marini. Then, we started with Klein. Then, of course, at the same time, we're doing G&H, but that's just a small computer for the parameters. Now we're at the point where we started working with the Koreans for like highly specialized stuff like casing, extractors, and reverse circulation rigs. But that's just a small component. It's not like a mainstream product. Let's just say. That's one of the biggest things, to make sure that I've got the right foundation, that I've got the processes in place, and also that I'm not needed in the business. I'll be doing a good job when I'm no longer needed in the business. But that's
when you actually have a business.
That's when you actually have a business, right?
Until then, you're an employee.
100%.
Essentially.
Yeah, and that's always work in progress. As you know, it's really hard to find good people and dedicated and motivated people.
Do you think that, I resonate with a lot what you said, and although we plan to grow exponentially and you might not have the same thing, do you think that fundamentally, apart from like big purchases and staffing and bits and pieces, do you think that fundamentally changes though the way that we both should work?
No, not at all. I don't think that changes at all.
Doesn't change anything, does it?
No, absolutely.
Whether you're planning on growing a business that's of a huge scale, or whether you're planning on just not cruising, but just focusing on the slower growth.
I see where you're going with this.
You got to focus
on
the same
so at the same time, why not aim? Because you still have to do the hard work, right?
I'm not, because you've got to want that, right?
Yeah.
You've got to, generally not. I'm not, because you want that. But at the same time, you still got to work on your processes.
Oh, 100%.
You still got to work on your systems.
The requirements are still
the same, right? I recently, do you ever heard of a guy called Alex Hormozi?
I've heard of him. I don't know much about him. Yeah, he's like a new age sort of
He's a
guy.
business guru.
Yeah.
I went and met him in, not personally met him, but I went and saw his course in Las Vegas. It was a 2-day course.
I think I'm going to meet him in October at Fortuna.
Okay.
Are you going to Fortuna?
I don't know what it is.
So it's an event with Stephen Bartlett and Anthony Robbins.
I think I saw that advertised.
And he's one of the speakers.
Is he there as well?
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I thought
I've done a few of them. I've seen that advertised. I may go check it. I'm not a massive fan of Steve Bartlett, but
okay.
No, yeah, I haven't really seen.
Although he's a fellow British man.
It's just not my taste personally.
No.
You know,
enough,
I mean, I don't want to disrespect.
But Anthony Robbins.
Look, Anthony Robbins is great. He's great. I can't.
How can you not like him, right?
There was a period of time when I first met him but I first found him that I was obsessed. Like I was like ready to like be more than I was. I was so ready to try to be better.
You know, when I first came across Anthony Robbins,
what was that?
In my early 20s, when
perfect time.
When I thought I've lost my motivation, like all of a sudden I just started like having insomnia and all this stuff. Although like that, I was doing okay. Like I came to Australia, I was sponsored, I had a good mechanical engineer job, and had a partner and everything, and then something was missing, and I was like, am I losing motivation? I was like, is this what it is? And then I started researching all of this stuff, and I came across what was it called?
Awaken the Giant Within?
Yeah, no, it was something to do with motivation and purpose and things like that. And of course, Anthony Robbins, life coaching. There you go, life coaching. That was the term at that time. I don't think he calls himself that. I think he's called himself like a performance coach and business coach and strategist and all this stuff. But at that time, it was simple.
When was this? This was in your 20s, a long time ago.
That was like early 2010s, like 10, 11.
Yeah.
And 2009, 10, 11, yeah. And at that time, when I discovered him, I became absolutely obsessed with, I have listened to, like, you download on torrents and stuff like that.
Oh,
sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry, Tony. Yeah. I did buy your most expensive ticket this time. I'll make it up for downloading on torrents back then.
The torrents.
All your discography.
Yeah.
Or biography, whatever you want to call it. But they were like, Unleash the Giant Within. It was like relationship strategy. It was all of these books, like 14 something, audio books with exercise and all this stuff. And I was just absolutely obsessed with it. And that's when I started working on myself. So that was actually a huge moment in my life for deciding. I was like, what, I can actually do better. This is not just, because until then, all my purpose was like, go to Australia, become a citizen, get a decent job. And then that's it. All your problems are solved. You don't need to aim for anything else. But it's the worst thing ever to actually achieve all your goals.
Yeah, man.
It is the worst curse.
Yeah.
It's a blessing, but it's a curse, right? And then I realized, I was like, wow, like I need something more. And that's when I actually started working in the industry as well. The reason why I was like, how I got into this industry is because I was listening to Anthony Robbins.
Ambition is a thirst that can never be quenched. It's not like you have one sip of water and you're done forever, is it?
Exactly, yeah. And after that, I did change the mentality around it.
Men without focus and men without purpose are, I wouldn't say dangerous men, but it's a lonely existence. you know, and I think I've had another level of purpose since I had my daughter, you know, that I always knew that would.
Oh, that's a different, yeah.
It's a different level. It changes everything, you know, but like if you
How old is she?
She's 9 months.
9 months. Oh, wow.
Yeah, first one. So
Congratulations.
right in the swamp of it.
Brand new.
Yeah, brand new, you know. It's amazing. I love it. It's like, it's exactly what everyone says it is. But yeah, it's, if you don't have, I've got a lot of young lads that work for us. We've had, in our hand piling, we get so many guys coming from overseas and bits and pieces and stuff like that. And I'm so close to all of them. I love them. They're all friends of mine, you know.
You guys are, I think, across the board one of the youngest overall as
sure.
age.
We just connect with that, you know. We have older people and stuff like that, but we recruit on personality way more.
Can I tell you a secret?
Yeah, go.
Recently, I know it sounds terrible, but I've decided the majority of my hirees are going to be on the young side.
And why is that?
Energy, number one. Willingness, you know, to and you know, hungry and willingness to and ability to mold them and to teach them, you know, and you know, to run a business and to be in a business the way you want, you know, that business to. It's so much better for the image. That's not to say, don't get me wrong, that's not to say that having, so I have very high experienced guys, you know, they're like in their late 50s. But for a while I said, I'm going to focus on this because majority of my guys, I've trained them for nothing. Like they had no idea what they're doing.
Absolutely. I know the feeling.
And it proved to be very rewarding. So yeah, sorry to interrupt, but yeah, that's one of the things that, you know, a few months ago I realized, I was like, I want to do this. I want to get more younger people introduced to the industry, mold them, teach them, and hopefully inspire them.
I think that's great, mate. Yeah, I really think that's great.
And I know you guys are the same, because most of the time I get a phone call from you guys, it's a young bloke, and I'm like, how old is he? Like,
yeah, look, I mean, I would say average age is probably 30.
There you go.
Yeah. Something like that. You know, we're really tight knit. Like, that's one of the, as you know, in business, there's so much you have to put up with that's crap. So much stress, so much pain, so much
100%.
Things that you have to just sacrifice or compromise on. But me and Des, we really enjoy working with people that we get on with and we have a lot of banter with. We're very sarcastic. There's a lot of practical jokes getting played. Our WhatsApp group, we've got different ones.
And that comes across, I've seen your social media, that comes across from that as well. Like I get that feeling straight away.
We generally
I think that's beautiful.
We've just hired a new full-time videographer and a full-time content strategist, as I want to start promoting that more than ever. And I want to start doing, we're onto something pretty good, we think. We really do believe. Everyone in the office, people, we've had a bunch of new hires, new general manager, new senior project manager. We've just upgraded to a much bigger office because we've outgrown that. And we're on.
Fantastic. Where's your office nowadays?
It's in Mascot now.
Okay.
Yeah, it's we've gone from tiny little 6 desks to available for 24 desks. You know, we're planning on quite a big upscale and multiple different departments. But one of the things that we really love about it is I lost my train of thought. What was I saying? I was saying that we think we're onto something. You know, I do generally believe that we're onto something, and we want to try and showcase and document that. And we look around. I look around a lot at what other people are promoting for socials and bits and pieces, and like that's fine. They're doing that and stuff like that. But I always want to try to do something a bit different and what we like.
Good on you, yeah.
What I like, you know. And also, it sounds really cheesy, but like, I'm really close to my grandparents and stuff back in England, and I want to try making content that I can show them of what I'm up to and what we're up to and who the people are, and get to know them a little bit and the personalities. Hey, Grand, this is what I'm working with and stuff like that. I can send it back and stuff like that. So we're going to do like a behind the scenes, fly on the wall documentary bits of weekly episodes of what we're doing at the moment, along with shorts to get to know the people, right? Because when I'm going to look for another contractor, another company to work with, I think it goes back to what we were saying earlier. Ultimately, you're just looking to find something that makes you trust them for whatever reason. And that can be just because their reputation's so good or the product looks so good or whatever and stuff like that. But for us, I think it's the people, you know? It's the people, it's the quality of the work, and it's the ambition that we're trying our hardest here to be the best we can be. No one can guarantee they're perfect. But if you really are trying, that means that when you do make mistakes, you're going to take accountability for them and you're going to try and fix them, and you're going to work through those bits and pieces and stuff, because it's all a lot of people will go and say, we go the extra mile, but what does that actually really mean?
Yeah.
You know, what does that actually really mean?
Define that mile.
Define that, you know, if it's like, for us, it's like, if it's peeing with rain, 45 mil, and there's something we can do, we still do it, you know?
Yeah.
If we're not 100% sure that we swept up the road when we get home at 6 o'clock, well, we'll drive right back. You know what I mean? These little.
Do you
tiny
think
things.
that how? Because obviously, I came from Iraq. I came from Romania. I went first to the
You can be
States.
from Romania originally?
Yeah. And I went to the States first. I lived there for a couple of years, and then I came to Australia. I didn't like it in the States. I hated it. And I was in Florida, and I was working for Disney too.
You were working with Disney?
Yeah, I was working and
Doing
studying
what?
with Disney. Oh, all sorts of positions. Indian, I ended up in accounting, working as a, let's say, primary accounting for one of the
Are you good with numbers?
hugest.
Are you is that your trade originally? Was that what you were doing?
I was a mechanical engineer. I'm a mechanical engineer by trade.
I thought that.
But turns out I was pretty good for the Americans with numbers. And so I worked there for a while, and I didn't like it. They wanted to sponsor me. They wanted to keep me there. And I was like, no, thanks, guys. They're like, oh, you don't understand, you know, the opportunity, Mike. Where are you going? You know, I was like, I'm going to like in Florida.
Okay.
And I was like, I'm going to Australia, mate. It's so what I was going with this is, how does it come? First of all, isn't it a beautiful thing that you can come from a different place, and Australia is such a great place for opportunity.
Amazing.
For people that actually wanted to give it a go, that embrace the culture, embrace, and I don't want to get into the whole immigration debate thing, but it's such an amazing thing that you can actually make it here. You can have a go at it, right? How does that play to you? How does that pan out with you guys? Because both you and Des, you guys were born in England.
We're both immigrants, essentially, citizens now. My personal visa process was really long-winded. When I first started the business, I had an opportunity to go and work for another company, get sponsored, but I wanted to start the business. So that meant that my girlfriend had to go to student visa and do night school whilst I worked on the business, and I had to go on her visa. It took 9 years for me to get a full-time visa. About $100,000 for fees and bits and pieces. I had to retrain as a carpenter, and there was a whole.
Sorry, I have to admit, this is such a, I don't know. It just sounds so weird that you coming from England, you had to take 9 years.
Yes.
And I become a resident in like 2 years.
Mate, it's I think I didn't have any education or any skill set.
It's because of the engineering degree. I know, because I had finished my degree, and I did some studying in the States.
Yeah.
It was easy to to recognize all the credits and everything. So I got through quite easy. But I also was sponsored too. I was working full time.
We've sponsored 6 or 7 guys now.
I sponsored 2, yeah.
It's one of the best things.
It is, right?
I love it.
Because we came here and we're looking for sponsorship, right?
Man, it
and
makes
then
me
to be able
so
to give
happy.
this, right? It's such
Honestly,
a gift.
I honestly, it's just
that
like,
touches me in a way you have no idea.
We get it. We've done it. And I honestly, it's like I was saying, it probably went a long way bad, but you have to do so much that you don't enjoy in business. But being able to say to somebody that you respect, that you like, and you appreciate,
and they deserve to,
and they deserve to, on their own merit,
exactly, yeah.
Mate, I got you.
Yeah,
no problem.
It's
I got you.
isn't it?
All good. That's like,
mate,
makes me tingle even thinking about it.
It is.
Yeah.
In 2008, 2009, when I was looking for someone to sponsor me, I was literally knocking on doors. I even went to Downer, like this huge company. Downer EDI.
Oh, wow, okay.
They were back there in the seating, and they were like, "Who do you want to talk to?" And I was like, someone that's in human resources. I'm a mechanical engineer. I've been to the States.
Yeah.
And they're like, you might just want to apply online. I was like, got you. All right, thank you.
Nah, it's nice, man. It goes back to that giving thing, But I know the struggle
knocked
so well.
So many doors, honestly, to get a sponsorship.
It's a hustle. You got to hustle.
Oh my god.
But there is opportunity here, though, and it's very expensive in Sydney. We're obviously. Where do you live?
Right now, I live in near Blacktown. Yeah,
Blacktown. Sydney is so expensive.
Near Wharf, Kings Park. Yeah,
it's so expensive. Rent's expensive. Food's expensive. Everything is mental, and it's tough. But when you look at countries, and my geography is not absolutely amazing, but when you look at countries that have beautiful water and beaches, fantastic economy, safe, great weather, drive on the left-hand side of the road, speak English, abundance of nature and wildlife.
I know.
How many
it's
are
such a
there?
place, I absolutely love Australia.
I'm so grateful that I managed to make it work here.
Absolutely.
I'm so grateful.
Yeah.
I wake up, I live in a lovely house with my partner and my daughter, and in Little Bay, and we're close to little beaches. We walk our dog, and I just I drive my car, and I'm just I look around, and it was the best decision that I ever had, and it's been more difficult than I could ever have imagined. And imagine you've had friends over the years that you've met and gone and couldn't stick it out.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
You get so close to these people,
absolutely,
and then they go, and it's a battle, and you miss out on family events.
And it's understandable why they went, why it didn't work out for them.
It's not for everyone. It's not the
be
all. It's not the be all and end all, and you have to. But the dark side of it is you see family members pass away. You don't watch your cousins grow up. They don't really know who you are. You miss your family.
My family is mostly scattered. Like 90% of us are scattered all the way through like Spain, Norway, US, and
proper Romanians.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, look, it's it is such a blessing. Australia is such a blessing, and I'm the same. Every single day, I'm like so grateful for being here, for the opportunities.
From the little, I guess, that you really know, what would be some advice that you can give to me and Des and our adventure to grow and to transcend and be the best we can be in this pioneering game?
Mate, honestly, this whatever you guys are doing, you're doing great. Just keep at it, keep consistent. That's the only thing. I mean, the little that I've worked with you guys, it's lovely working with you guys. Thanks. You're a professional. You're paying your bills on time.
Big thing that
it's huge.
When you work for people that. We've got a lot of subbies that work for us. Like our payroll each week is probably 60 to 70 different people each week. And we pay every Friday, doesn't matter when your invoice is due. If we 9 times out,
you guys are very good payers. Yeah.
And reason for that is goes back to that trust to give and not 100%. Get anything back. Because when you work for these clients, what you just said about us, when I work for a client and they pay me on time or pay me early, I'm just like, good guys. It's mental. Because some people don't pay for like 90 days, 100 days.
Yeah.
You got to chase them. We're in this industry that you can just like not pay someone for ages. It's mental.
Yeah, and nobody does anything. Like
no one does anything. You can't go to a supermarket and then pay for the
Apple. Be like, I'll pay you next week. Yeah, right? Maybe. I'll see. Yeah, I'll give you an update regarding your payment next week.
Yeah.
I'm like, what update? Pay me.
Call me 40 times next week. Yeah, I'll answer one time. But this is something that we can do. So it's great for you to hear this. Hear that does come across.
Absolutely,
that way.
And that's why I make time for you guys. Whenever you call me, I make time for you guys. And I try to make it happen. And I'm like,
you do.
You appreciate my work.
I do. I really do.
Time. And just recently, how because of the age and all this stuff, you get the score rating online.
What's that?
The score rating for your. Just the feasibility and the credibility and the character of your business.
Okay. Like who's that with?
The Dun & Bradstreet, Credit Watch.
Credit Watch. I know Credit Watch, yeah.
Yeah, there's heaps of companies, but we recently been categorized, and I'm so proud of this to announce this. We're actually A3 now. So we're the lowest score. And it's, I was talking to one of the guys there and I said, guys, like, that's fantastic because for a company that's been around only 8 years, that is a huge achievement. People get this after 20 years in the business.
Do they?
And I was like, what's the purpose? Why did we get that? And they said like, well, the feedback that we got from your supplier, basically, suppliers, and also you don't pay your bills at 30 days. You're almost like direct debit. It's like 0 days, So yeah, that's...
Which is difficult in itself. It's difficult in itself.
Wait, it's not your money, is it?
Like, exactly. Like you
if I ask you for this glass of water, you give it to me. That's it. Like,
what I mean is like you've got to run a really tight ship with your books. You've got to have good cash flow. You've got to manage everything well. You know, because those processes are industry standard, are in place, so people can manage cash flow, and you can work in a system which generically doesn't pay you for that period of time. So it starts from the top and trickles its way down, and we're just living off the scraps here as the labos. So like you've got to save your money, be smart. Have the cash in the bank, because ultimately, the way I see it is, if I work for a builder, I'm working for him. Doesn't matter if his client doesn't pay him, I'm working for the builder. And it's exactly the same the other way around.
Because if he gets paid, you don't share the profits.
No, exactly, right?
So we're not business partners. I work for you.
Exactly. So if a subby works for me,
He's going to call you like, mate, I've made 20% more profit. Let me give you 10%.
Right.
What's your BSB account number?
Absolutely.
No, that doesn't work that way.
Like a subby.
So why do you make me part of your losses then? If you don't make me part of your profits.
If a subcontractor works for us and then he calls me up and it's like, oh, can I get paid? I'm like, oh, the client ain't paid me yet. It's like, imagine, like, how could I possibly ever do? How could you ever possibly ever do that? No, the deal you made with that man or that woman is that deal you made. Stick with that, honor that. So in that regard, make sure that before you go and get into debt, you've got the resources to pay yourself out of it. And we're so tight on our budgets and reviewing our numbers, and even before we engage the contractor, we pay them.
I saw that with you guys the very first time you purchased your piloting, because a lot of the people you guys took a long time to decide.
Yes.
Can we do this? Can we afford it? Which is fantastic. And I did tell you at the time, don't make any decision until you're 100% happy.
For something like that, it's important.
But look, it's been a lovely conversation. We are running out of time. I do want to ask you one question.
Yeah, go for it, mate.
You asked me, what can we do to improve? I'm asking the same thing. What can we do for TerraQuip to improve from what you guys notice?
So your servicing that you do for us, I couldn't really say anything bad, honestly. You've been great. When I call you, you're there. You're always helpful with advice. I called you the other day about something. You made sure to follow up. You've clearly got a good process in place for documenting that and following up. When you guys come to site, they're good and they graft and they get things done in the messy jobs. You as a person, I would buy from you, right? And I personally mean that we buy from people more than anything else and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And if you had more machines, we would trust that you would do the same thing that you did last time, which was, if you don't have the right machine, you got to know us. What do we need? What's our market? Bits and pieces. And you said, nah, I actually don't think that's the right machine. Go with that. And if you had more array, you could take that trust that you've got with us and go, this is actually something that would work. So that's one thing I would say. Other than that, mate, I got a lot of respect for you. I respect the hustle of the podcast and stuff like that.
Thank you.
Most I've chatted to you, but it's really good. It's an honor, and I really hope things go well for you, man. If we can help you in any way, just reach out.
Same here.
Awesome.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks, mate.
Cheers. Bye-bye. Guys, that was our episode with Lloyd. Thank you so much for tuning in. This was one of those episodes where you can actually just listen to it. You don't actually have to see, because with a lot of episodes that I do here, we show a lot of videos, a lot of photos, a lot of case studies from the job side, from the equipment side. This was more of a business sort of discussion. You can just listen to it. Anyway, I'll see you guys next time. Thank you very much for watching. And remember, if it's not turning, you're not earning. Hey, thank you again for watching this episode. I hope you found this interesting. Now, if you guys are someone that have an interesting topic to talk about, or an interesting application, or an interesting technology or piece of equipment, and you want to share with us here with the audience at TerraQuip Talk, please hit me up. I'll be more than happy to hear from you. I'm always open to hearing new ideas about technologies, about how we can make things safer, first of all, in our industry, more efficient, and just better overall. So if you have an idea, please hit me up. Send me a message. You know where to find us.